Igor, hello. Is it all right if we call you Igor? Do you prefer that we call you something else?
Oh, of course, go ahead. You call me whatever you want. I'm totally.
What else would we call him?
Do you have a
Well,
lot of fun nicknames in the dressing room that you get called instead?
I mean, like usually in the hockey world, Larry, but like personal life, Iggy or something.
I don't think we can call you Iggy. I think that's reserved for Jerome McGinley for us.
Yeah, so a lot of famous Iggy's, Iggy Pop, Iggy, Joe McGinley, Iggy Azalea, who's we
Yeah.
don't we don't mention her on here, but it's all right.
You don't like Iggy Azalea?
I mean, she's fine, but like her latest stuff just is not it. Like
Yeah, I don't like I don't know. I think I liked her very first thing. What was
yeah,
that song? Like her most popular one, like no money,
The
no
fancy.
family. It's a scene in the middle of Miami. You know that one?
Oh, fancy. That
yeah,
one?
she had like two or three absolute bangers, and then it just went
Yeah.
straight dumpster fire real quick. But like
Hmm.
you can't. Not everyone can have a long, successful career.
Exactly.
You fell off the Iggy Power rankings. It's disgusting.
Well, the Iggy Power rankings, that's a tough one. Probably Iggy Pop number one, just because the man's a legend. Um, Number two, I'd have to go maybe my dad because he was called Iggy when he was playing. That's like a
You
selfish
know
answer.
what? Yeah, that's older than Jerome McGinley, so that's
Yeah,
fair.
and then I'd go Jerome McGinley because he had like a million goals in the NHL, which is pretty insane. And then I put myself ahead of Iggy Azalea 100%.
Me too. It's okay.
And she'd probably be last. No offense to her, she's a fantastic artist, but like
Eh,
it is what.
using the word fantastic a little liberally there.
She isn't a professional athlete, so I mean,
That is true, but I'm not a professional rap singer either. So yeah, I'm not.
Not yet.
Yeah, exactly. You never know.
Yeah, exactly. Possibilities are endless.
Hmm.
speaking of
All
acting,
right. Should
speaking
we
of
like
athlete-
introduce ourselves? He doesn't
Oh,
really know anybody.
yeah, that's
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Okay. Well, I'm Rams. I mean, I already introduced myself.
um, I'm Constantine. I'm also one of the writers in here, and just recent joined the Scorchstack when we all kind of started it. I don't really know what else to say.
Just one up me there. I'm like, oh, I'm Rams. And then you're like, okay, well, about me.
And I'm Nathan. Also, just thrilled to be chatting with you today. We might get some more Scorchy members. If not, though, it's just three of us, and we're super stoked that you decided to take time out of your day and just shoot the shit with us.
For sure.
And then that's Tibbs or Christian, but he has allergies, so he won't be speaking. And then Mike and Flube couldn't join.
Hopefully the allergies are doing better. I struggle with those every year too, so sympathetic for that.
Thanks.
Igor, if you don't mind, I'm hoping that we can jump into it. I wanted to get the chance to talk to you about a few tweets you've been making lately. You've taken a really awesome stance by just, declaring outright that trans rights are human rights, trans women are women. And it's coming at a time where a lot of, sports and the LGBTQ community are coming at a head where there's not really that understanding of what to do or saying the wrong things or trying to be a good ally, but making a whole mess of it. So in your perspective, like how important is it to tweet out things like trans women or women just to show that, like confirmation that allyship?
Honestly, when I tweet something like that, it makes me so happy when I get these replies back of people saying, thank you so much. I feel so comfortable knowing that as a hockey fan, I can be who I truly am. And like for me, at the end of the day, all I want to do is like help people. And if I see a community of people that aren't treated correctly, like I don't stand for that. I think that's wrong. So like if I can bring some awareness or just in general help some people, that's all I want to do with using my platform, because I feel like a lot of people have a platform and they really don't use it for anything. I feel like a platform should be used for multiple things. You could use it for building your own brand. You could use it for some causes that you believe in, and you can also use it just to get closer to your community, to your fans. So honestly, I just try to do all three of those things. But recently I've just been seeing so many people saying all these hateful things, and like to me that's not how I was raised. I was raised to pretty much treat everyone with kindness and to respect people for who they are as their soul, or their personality. And it doesn't matter your background, your religion, your sexual orientation, your skin color. The thing that matters to me is what kind of person you are. So that's why I've been trying to, support people that, kind of are isolated in this community.
And so jumping off of that, do you think that there is like a responsibility for other hockey players or just more notable people on Twitter to be using a platform for creating good? Or, we have in the NHL where it's just like this very monotone team culture, no personality. Do you think that we should be seeing more people speaking out?
I mean, absolutely. Like if I'm a young kid and I see one of my heroes tweet something or say something, I'm probably going to either right away believe him or listen to him or follow him or whatever, or I'll take the time of day to do some research about it. Because a lot of kids I know, like, they're racist not because they're racist because of their parents, like. So if an NHL athlete were to tweet something and say, like, guys, like, Black Lives Matter, we can't treat people like of color differently, like, we need to stop the violence on Asian people, and your parents at home are saying something totally different, but you hear your favorite athlete say that, well, then all of a sudden it creates an opportunity for a person to grow and an opportunity for a person to learn. So when these, mega stars, big athletes, say these things, I think it's great because not only does it, spread the word, but it really helps the next generation of, young athletes, young kids, helps them understand that, the right choice is love and it isn't hate.
I guess also I wanted to do one more follow-up question on that. Do you feel like the culture, specifically in the locker rooms and everything, that players are transitioning over to wanting to say more and wanting to speak out on global issues, such as like Black Lives Matter and then also like Asian hate and everything in terms of that?
That's tough because it depends on every locker room. There's obviously different people in every locker room. I mean, the rooms I've been in, they haven't really been, overly progressive. That's the usual talk. It's which girl did you sleep with? What do you have? Like, what's your favorite drink? Your favorite video game? And it gets to the point where, like, when I hear that, I honestly just want to put on my headphones and just, like, not listen to anyone, because it's annoying, but it's also just like, you say you're brothers with this person, but all you know about him is his favorite video game, what kind of girl he likes, and his favorite drink. You have no idea what the actual person is. You have no idea about their, their childhood, their emotional development, their favorite films, like their music, what kind of style they like. Some people, if you get to know them, they can say something, for example, like a big tough guy can say, I like to write poetry, or like, I like to draw in my spare time, just small vulnerable things like that really bring you closer. But all of this like nonsense of, yeah, we're brothers, when in reality, you guys are brothers because you went on a bar crawl. Like, I mean, that's not brothers. I do that with anyone.
So not that you need to fix, hockey culture as a whole, but like if you could do one thing to get locker rooms to actually bond with each other, what is like the Igor tried and true method of actually creating dialogue in the locker room?
Damn, that's a really hard question.
Yeah, it's a big one, Nathan.
Yeah, we came here for the hard thing stuff. I'm sorry.
If you can't answer it, no worries. It's a tough one.
The problem with that question is there's so many things that you need to change to just at least move, 1 inch in the right direction. But I guess something simple would be to stop using homophobic slurs in the locker room. Like if someone, pretty much does anything, they throw that around so lightly. It's like, I feel like nowadays when I hear someone say anything like that, it's sort of like, it doesn't like, it like cuts your ear. It's like a weird way of hearing something like that. But like for these guys, they're still saying it like it's just like everyday regular insults, when in reality, it's not an insult. It's like you're making fun of someone in a horrible way. It's like, for me, that's just, that's terrible. But all these guys, they just throw it around willy nilly. Like, they don't even understand the consequences or why these words are hurtful.
That was pretty heavy. So I want to toss it to Romina because she's got some burning questions that aren't as like change the world on a global level here.
Cool.
So yeah, at the Scorchstack, they're always doing some serious stuff like, top 20 prospects. And I'm always like, astrology, let's look at that. But anyways, we got some Twitter questions. But first, before we get into that, who is your favorite One Direction member, first of all?
I mean, easy. That's Harold Styles.
Oh, of course. Do you have a favorite song by Harry? Or you don't? It's okay if you don't.
No. For me, that's like, let's say I have 20 beautiful children. I need to choose a favorite child. It's like, how can I choose a favorite child when I love all of them so much? But It all depends on my mood, honestly. Like a
Yeah.
couple months ago, it was Watermelon Sugar. Right now, it's probably Sign of the Times or To Be So Lonely, one of those songs. But no, it all depends on the mood. And honestly, I think all of his songs are pretty great.
Did you ever watch One Direction like throughout X Factor, or were you kind of young for that?
I remember it was a big deal in school when that was going on. Like all the girls had their their pictures on their binders and the first time I really like got into that was when they released What Makes You Beautiful, and me and a couple friends on my team were like, oh my god, this is incredible, and we just played in the locker room nonstop the entire week on repeat. And like I remember that specifically because we were like, I think like 9 or 10, I don't even know how old we were, maybe 11, and we didn't know how to like set the replay button on the iPhone yet, so every time the song would end, we'd sprint over, press the arrow to flip it again.
Do you know about the One Direction conspiracy theory?
Which one?
Oh, okay. There's multiple. No, I'm talking about the one on X Factor and how One Direction is an inside job. Do you know about that?
I mean, I don't know about that like exactly, but like I figured that there was some planning behind, because my
Well,
sisters were both on American Idol a while back, and when
wait, who?
my sisters,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and
Oh,
when
your sisters were on American Idol?
they made top 75 or something. But
Damn, that's
when
cool.
they were on there, they were brought back to the producers room, and in the producers room, they literally had everyone's like face circled, crossed out. People didn't even sing it, so they basically already knew who they were taking throughout every round. But
Yeah.
I mean, I assume they did the same thing. Simon Cowell loves his money, so like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's so many like horror stories of X Factor auditions and how it's all planned. But specifically, what I meant, have you ever watched Louis' audition?
I mean,
It's god awful. So there's no way he would have made it.
Better. Like I'm not like it's pretty bad.
Yeah, like there's no way he would have made it. So everybody just said that it was just planned from the beginning and they were an inside job. And I totally believe it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Now let's get into some Twitter questions. Okay, so somebody at Goblin Parties wants to know what your top tracks on your workout playlist are and what tattoos do you have planned next?
It's a fantastic question. Top tracks, I love the new Machine Gun Kelly album and Youngblood new album, so I've been listening to a lot of that, and that's like really like it like pumps you up, it's sort of like a throwback to like Blink-182, so that's something that I really like. And next tattoo, I have a lot planned. I'm taking some time off because I like to like have these experiences happen, but like aesthetically I probably have two planned right now, one of which is, it says energy in Russian. I'd probably put it right here. And there's like sort of like lines like from a sun, so it's sort of like you creating your own energy. And another one would be, what, I can actually show you guys. I have it saved on my phone. That'd be probably way easier.
Connie's actually Russian, so if you guys wanted to talk shit about me, Nathan, and Tibbs, go for it.
Yeah.
What?
I figured by his name that he's Russian. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's just a good Canadian kid.
the OVK gives it away quite easily.
See that.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah, those are the next few that I've planned.
That's cool.
I guess I just kind of have a question because it leads to a point. What's your favorite tattoo that you have so far that you've gotten?
Mm-hmm. Again, that's a very tough one because I like them all so much.
I was gonna say it's like the children question.
Yeah, but probably the butterfly one, because it's done beautifully. First of all, like the artist, she's incredible, and it just means a lot to me because it was meant for something special. But the other ones are also really special because my sister recently got a tattoo I think license or whatever, so she's just been practicing on me. So all of these like are literally just her like doodling on me. So like I think that's really cool that she's able to do that, and like all of them represent like a family member or something.
That's nice that you say that because my sister is learning to tattoo also, and she was like trying to get her tattoo apprenticeship, and she's like, "Can I practice on you?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." So good on you for letting your sisters do that.
No, I'm super cool with that. She got it, and she's like, "You want some free tattoos?" I'm like, "Sure, let's do it." So
why not?
Yeah.
Okay, there's another question, but Nathan kind of asked you that already. Oh, do you have a name for your butterfly tattoo? At Just Alyssa is wondering.
Wow. I mean, I have a name for someone it's after, but like a name itself, not really.
That's all good. And then I think there was one. Oh, so somebody was asking you just in general about women's hockey. Do you follow women's hockey at all? I mean, right now it's a bit of a mess, but did you have a favorite team before this?
Honestly, I wasn't too sure that there was even a season going on because I don't really watch much hockey. The most hockey I watch is usually I have a guy who sends me clips of like, for example, like players that I look up to. So like guys that I can, steal a move from or an entry or just anything pretty much. So I usually just watch those. I don't really watch like games all in general. But someone tweeted me that the women's playoffs were going on and I had no clue about it. So then I did some research and I watched some highlights and it was pretty good hockey. So like going forward next season when it's back on, like I'm definitely gonna watch more. And I even chose a team, the Toronto Six is gonna be my team. So I gotta get some, some merch or whatever. So whenever they play, I can put that on. But I've watched Olympic hockey. I've skated with some of the girls on the Olympic team. They're amazing players. Like people, guys especially doubt them, but like I really see there no doubt the way they move the puck, the way they skate, the skill, the smarts. Like they deserve all the credit in the world. So if sport doesn't get enough viewership, I really don't think it's on them as athletes. It's got to be on the marketing system. And I feel like pretty much anything can be marketed. So it all comes back to marketing and hockey, which is clearly not doing as well as other sports. So they could definitely have a higher viewership if they got the correct marketing because their gameplay is great.
Yeah. And I worked with women's hockey, and not even just like the way they play, but their dedication, because they literally have to like be at the rink by 6 a.m. on weekdays because they have full-time jobs or like full-time school and stuff. So they're literally at the rink at 6 a.m., never get a weekend off. And I'm like, I would just go to the games. I'm like, oh, I'm tired. I want to go home. But it's like working the games. And I'm like, wow, why am I complaining?
Yeah, I mean the fact that they have to practice and then go to a full-time job is just that's insane to me. Like what we do in the season usually is like we practice at like I don't know like 10 a.m. and then we're done by like 11:30 and then the rest of the day you literally do anything. You just chill, you go to lunch, you go shopping, like whatever you want. And the fact that these people they have to go work afterwards, like I couldn't imagine practicing, getting absolutely bag skated, killed at practice, killed at a workout, and then having to work until like 6 p.m. or something. Like that's the fact that they do that. It's incredibly impressive. Like that's insane.
Yeah. And you mentioned when you're talking about that, about players that you look up to, for like their style of play. Do you want to share who you look up to in their style of play, or who you kind of
Yeah,
try
of
to?
course. Two guys that I look up to are not even look up to, just two guys that I like to steal from is Sebastian Aho and Teravainen, the guys in Carolina. Usually whenever people, they've seen me play, I usually get comparisons to Teravainen. So that's a guy that I study a lot. And then obviously I watch guys like Patrick Kane because I think he's the best at creating space for himself. No one, can really do that as well as he can. And then Kuznetsov is another guy I like to watch. Let's see who else. Crosby in terms of his full like 200-foot game. A guy that I also would watch some is Johnny Gaudreau because he's also very skilled. Honestly, I just try to take the best from everyone and try to, implement that into practices, into games. And, that's brought me a lot of success throughout my career.
Was there ever a move that you saw an NHL player do that made you want to go, oh, I have to try that in practice, but it turns out to be a lot harder than you initially thought?
To be honest, all those moves, they don't really, I've seen a lot of moves that I was like, okay, I got to try this. And usually like first or second try, I'm able to get it done because like, I feel like at a certain level, you're able to, do these things pretty easily and pretty quickly. But I do remember when I think I was like maybe 8 or 9, I saw the through the legs goal. I think Malik scored in the shootout. And for the next 3 weeks, I had a net in my garage. I just stood in the garage with a stick between my legs and just trying to like flip it up. And then now like I'm able to pretty much put it between my legs and like I have arguably a harder shot that way than backhand shot. But like it's just one of those things. When I was a little kid, I saw that and it was like it blew my mind. So for 2 weeks I just kept trying to do that.
Oh, Nathan looks like he's gonna ask you something.
No, go ahead, Remy.
I was just gonna ask about playing in China because I'm assuming this is your first time playing hockey in China, unless I'm wrong.
Actually, because of COVID, we were moved to Moscow this season because of
Oh, okay.
the restrictions and everything. So we were literally in Moscow, which was, much easier for travel because all the teams are so close. I think there's 5 teams, that you could get to by bus, by 30-minute bus. So playing in Moscow was sick because I stayed at my dad's place. He has an apartment there, which, free rent, always something great. But no, I lived right in the middle of Moscow. Our rink was about maybe 20 kilometers outside of Moscow. So I would take a taxi every morning, practice, and then by 1 o'clock I was home. And Moscow is a type of city. It's one of the nicest cities in Europe. It's like a London, like a Paris. Like it's like an international hub where, you basically spend the entire day in this amazing city. It's kind of like a comparison would be playing in New York for the Rangers, where you practice and then you're literally in New York as a young athlete, and it's like, what can be better than that? So it was a ton of fun playing in Moscow. Like I'm not gonna lie, it's one of the most amazing places to play.
Well, if you play with Kunlun again, oh, I'm sorry, Nathan.
No, finish up.
I was just gonna say, if you're playing for Kunlun Red Star again, it's very humid there. I went there for a week with the Inferno. It's so humid, like the bottom of the ice was just all fog.
That's terrible.
Well, no, it was honestly, it was like super cool seeing the culture difference, the culture change from here to there. But yeah, it was just very humid. It was like March time too, and it's like 25 degrees.
Damn.
Igor, I'm hoping to talk a little bit about, your Russian connection. Obviously, growing up, your dad was a huge influence in bringing over Soviet players and Russian players into US. He was such a star with Detroit. And then you growing up, you played so many years in Detroit with Honeybig. Now you're in the KHL. You've got such major ties to both Detroit and, by extension, the USA and then Russia as well. Do you ever find that conflict between like having such a prominent mix of cultures here, or like when hockey comes on, is it just it's hockey first and then everything else second?
I grew up in a lot of different places. Like growing up, I lived in Detroit, I lived in New York, Florida, California. I spent some time in Oregon, in Russia. Like I grew up in a ton of different places. So for me, when I was, growing up, it was never like I have to be either this culture or this culture. What I tried to do was I tried to take a little bit from everything, like the best of every culture that I've seen, the best of every place that I've lived in, and try to, take that for myself. Because as great as like America is, there's obviously some downfalls. As great as Russia is, there's obviously some things that aren't great. So what I try to do is I try to take the best out of everything. And like when people ask me, like I say like I'm an international person because I can't really say I'm from one place in the world because I've just spent so much time in different places. But in terms of hockey, it was always just I probably would say my game is a mix of the North American and the Russian style of play. And that's mostly comes from my dad was always teaching me the Russian style of play. But then when I was growing up playing for, Honey Baked or Little Caesars, it was obviously more of the North American style. So in terms of that, my game, I would say, was split 50-50 down the middle. So for me, it's, I can adapt to playing over there and then adapt to playing over here pretty easily. I'm pretty lucky because a lot of guys, when they go over there, they don't know what's going on because the game is so different. But then a lot of guys, like let's say, for example, Shipachev came over, got a big contract in Vegas, was sent back after 2 games because he never played here. He didn't know like the style of play. So for me, I was lucky enough to experience both, where going forward in my career, I feel equally comfortable playing there or playing here.
A lot of casual fans, sorry, I just want to follow up on this quickly. A lot of casual fans, when they see Russian players come over, like, oh, it's a language barrier, that's it. But they don't maybe necessarily understand the differences between the North American game and the Russian game. Like, in just simple broad terms, like what do you think are the biggest differences that people don't pick up on between North American hockey and Russian hockey?
A couple differences. One thing in Russia, they just recently switched to shrinking the ice because they were playing on Olympics. So a lot of the rinks now are Finnish size, which is still bigger than North American, but it's already going in the right direction. So in terms of that, you have a lot more time and space with the puck. And also a lot of teams, they play like a 1-3-1. So no one's really aggressively forechecking. You have so much room to skate up with the puck, but once you get to neutral zone, you basically have no play. So you got to just dump it in. Whereas here it's a bit more aggressive, where if you make a couple quick passes, you're able to get like an odd man rush or 3-on-3 or some kind of rush. There it's mostly just 1-3-1. You get the puck, you try to dump it in, and you play like a possession game. Whereas here it's sort of more of a run and gun game where there's more opportunities going back and forth and people are playing a bit quicker. But honestly, I feel like if you're a good player, you can adapt pretty much anywhere. But it's tough at first, and a lot of people don't understand how how difficult it is, especially going from like Olympic sized ice to NHL sized ice. That's a humongous difference. Like one of the rinks, you literally have an entire, you can play a full on game behind the net. That's how much room there is on an Olympic sheet. Whereas here, you get the puck behind the net, there's a guy coming on, you have to make a quick pass, you have to decide right away what you're doing before you even get the puck. Whereas there, you get it, you take a look, blah, 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 you make a play. But it's difficult for people, but also the cultural differences. Like, as much as I would say it's a lot easier to live in North America than it is to live in Russia, these guys, they're not used to that kind of style that we live here. So when they come over and they see all these different things, they're shocked. Same way when North Americans go over to Russia and they go on all these podcasts talking about how terrible, how crazy it is. I mean, for them, yeah, it's terrible and it's crazy, but for Russian people, that's what they're used to. So it goes both ways, I would say, but honestly, you just got to have an open mind, and things usually work out for people like that.
I guess I just wanted to ask, it was mentioned in a question before, but do you prefer shorter ice or smaller ice?
I probably prefer the smaller ice because the game is more entertaining that way. The bigger ice, it becomes this long, boring game of just possession, setting up, playing defense, getting the puck out, playing defense, possession, setting up, and then going on offense, having a set attack. Whereas like a smaller ice, the game is so much more, spontaneous. Like, you make one move, you get around a guy, you're already going to the net. You have an opportunity to score. There, you make a move, and you still have so much, space to get to the net. Whereas like someone can, come up at you, take the play away. Here, you make a play, you're going to the net. That's it. You're driving the net. That's basically it. There, it's just, I don't know. It seems like it should be easier because the ice is bigger. You have more time and space. But I would definitely say here, it's just more fun. Like, the games are more fun when it's just compact. Quick pass, quick shot. There, it's like in soccer when you do like a cross field pass. Like, it takes forever for anything to develop.
And then you mentioned in your tweet to us that you kind of had some injury issues. What kind of injuries did you have?
I've had a lot of injuries, knock on wood. Hopefully that's in the past. I'm a bit of a late developer in terms of physically. Like, when I was playing in the OHL, I was like 150 pounds. Like, I was always super skinny. Like, I always tried to gain weight and everything. And it never really worked for me. So when I was 14, I had 2 hip surgeries. I tore both my labrums and my hips.
Oh.
And it was the year before my OHL draft year. And going into that, I was rated, I think, first round. And after that, I missed basically 2 seasons because of my hip surgeries. So that kind of derailed things a little bit, which, honestly, I'm glad that happened, because if I was a first round pick in the OHL, I would be a cocky woman, son of a bitch. But thanks to, actually having to struggle and actually having to, look deep inside myself and find who I truly am, I was able to develop emotionally way more than these people who just had a smooth path and could get away with whatever they wanted. I had to actually develop other sides of my personality, other sides of my character. But then once I got into the OHL, I got into the QMJHL first, actually. My first year in the Quebec League, I had a herniated disc in my back, which I missed half the season. And then I got back, and right before playoffs, I broke my collarbone.
Jeez.
This is just a start. Don't worry. It's just a start. Then the following year, I had an opportunity to play in Windsor because it was close to home. They said they needed some players, and I was like, why would I stay in Quebec when I could literally play 30 minutes from my house? It's the perfect situation. So I go to Windsor, I play well, and then I think maybe halfway through the year, I get a concussion. I miss almost 2 months. But when I came back from that concussion, I don't know what it was. It was almost like a mental shift. I stopped worrying and I stopped caring. And I was just like, I'm just going to go out and play. And the last 20 games, I think I had like 25 points or something. So I finished off that season pretty well. I think I was pretty healthy. Oh, actually, in the playoffs, the last 2 games of the playoffs, I separated my shoulder, and I played through it, but I wasn't really able to play. So that was another injury I had. The following year, I went to Muskegon in the USHL because me and my buddy, who's in the Winnipeg system, we grew up playing together, and we always wanted, to play one season together. And plus, Muskegon was sort of going for it. They had a lot of young Russian guys who were like drafted now, all playing pro. We had like a sick team. Honestly, we'd probably dominate the OHL, for being honest. The amount of guys that we had that are pro right now, it's insane. So I went there and everything was going great. I was having a great season, point per game. And at one point I separated my shoulder again, and I was supposed to be out close to a month. And I came back, I think after 2 weeks, because it was just, I didn't want to miss any games. I was having so much of a blast, every night we're selling out the arena, getting a ton of points. So I come back, I play one game against the U18 national team, like Hughes, Turcotte, all those guys. I had a goal. The next day we had a back-to-back. I take a hit and I break my collarbone again. So at that point, my season was done. And after that, I recovered. Things are going great. I go to Russia. I go to SKA, biggest team in Russia. They needed, there's a rule in Russia where you have to dress, I think, 3 players under the age of, I think, 20. And I was perfect for that, for that position, because I was coming from juniors in North America. Not too many guys, have that experience. So they wanted me for that position. Everything's going great. They told me I made the team. I got called up to the Olympic national team, which there's 2 national teams in Russia. There's the main national team, which is like all the old veterans, and then there's the Olympic national team, which is all the young guys, and they go and play against like the Belarus national team, like Kazakhstan. Like they're basically developing you for like the future, like Olympics and whatnot. So I got called up for those things. They told me I'm going to make the team. I'm really excited. Last day of training camp, we're doing 16 sets of 400-meter sprints. And on the last sprint, I tore my glute and was out for the entire season.
That's
Damn.
so unlucky.
So that was brutal. And then obviously, right as I was about to come back, the world gets shut down for COVID. Typical.
You would totally be in the NHL right now if you didn't have.
I mean,
all of this.
I don't want to sound cocky or ignorant or anything like that, but like a lot of people have told me based off of my development, and if I didn't miss all that time, I would definitely be playing where I should be right now.
I mean, I was just going to say, I still think you're the best player who's ever played the game, but
Thank you.
And honestly, I'm really
Your
excited.
end goal is still to make it to the NHL, or as a late bloomer, or your sight's a little different now, just because of the path your injuries forced you to take?
No, I mean, honestly, I skate with a lot of NHL guys in the summers, and they're all always telling me, like, why don't you like get a PTO? Like, you could definitely make a team. Like, you're definitely good enough. So I think this year is something that I want to do. Worst case scenario, I'll play in the AHL, which compared, I watched some AHL games this year, and compared to, the KHL, I'd say the KHL is a stronger league. So if I could play in the KHL and, get some points, I could definitely do that in the AHL. And once you're in the system, all you have to do is play well, and like, that's all that matters here. It's not like in Russia where it's, who you know, or like who your agent is, or like who you want to slice some money with or whatever. But like here, it's if you play well, you get the opportunity. So that's honestly all I'm looking for as an opportunity, because I know what kind of player I am. I know there aren't too many players that play the game the same way that I do. And if I get a fair opportunity, like I'm going to take it. I'm not going to give it up.
I know a few people at Seattle. I'll get you a PTO. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're just
the Scorchies are your new agent.
Make it happen.
Yeah, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna do this for you.
That'd be a dream, honestly. Just to get in, because honestly, I know I could play based off of all these guys that, like, when you skate with like Dylan Larkin or all these guys, they don't have to tell you that, like, dude, you're good enough to play here. They do that out of respect that you earn by training with them all summer, by showing them what you can do. Like, that's the thing that I see with these guys when they tell me stuff like that. Is like, yeah, like if guys like that, say that you can do it, like, why not,
Well, because you're still a young guy. Like, you're still, even in that, we talk about that that window, you're really hitting your stride. There's no limit to the future you can have here.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm only 22, and in terms of my like physical development, like I said, I'm a pretty early, late developer. Like, people still, if I shave right now and I go to a movie theater, they would card me if I go for a rated R film. Like, that's how sometimes. That's
like, yeah, I mean, Johnny Gaudreau didn't even go to the NHL until what, like 21, I think he was. So
yeah, I mean, my dad's rookie year in the NHL, he was 29. Like,
so I was telling my dad, I'm like, Dad, do you remember who Igor Larionov was? He's like, oh yeah, I totally know him. And then he was talking about the line he was on, like the KLM line. And he was like, oh, I think he said he's like, the K in that line won the Rookie of the Year award at like 31 years old. I'm like, and I was like, no, he didn't. And I looked it up and it was true.
True.
I was like, damn.
Well, because they changed the color rules because of
Yeah.
the late Russians coming over, and then a bunch of North Americans were like, we can't stand for this.
God forbid Russians get some glory over here.
Right.
Again, they have to steal. They have to steal from us once again.
Or
And your number, what first of all, why did you choose that? Second of all, was anybody like, dude, come on, you can't pick that number? And you're like, no, I'm gonna pick this number.
So basically this is how it happened. In Kunlun, we don't have much of we don't have a big budget. Like we don't have a lot of money. So they had 6 jerseys that they had to bring, and only 2 jerseys that came in my size. The other 2 were too small, and I think one more was way too big. It was almost a goalie jersey. So in my size, we had number, I think it was like 54 or like some like really not cool number. Like just this number that like
Not a cool number.
I'd rather not play than wear this number, you know.
I totally get it.
But the other one was 69, and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. It's my vibe. I could use it to impress a couple people that I'm currently talking to. So I did that. It worked pretty much in every way that I wanted it to work.
Honestly, in the NHL?
I wish, man. If I could, I want to continue wearing that number for multiple reasons. One is because I played well with that number. Like at the end of the day, it's like a superstition. Like I played really well with that number. So
You get hot, you got to recreate it, right?
exactly. If you get hot, and I'm the type of person, like I play better when there's like a magnifying glass on me. Like at my core, I'm an entertainer when I play. Like I want to entertain. So when I have someone looking at me or there's a full crowd, I'll play better than, like, for example, this year we played the best team in the KHL, sold out game. I had like the game winning assist, first star of the game. And then we played it against one of the worst teams, empty arena, no one there, nobody cares. And I had one of my worst games because like for me, it's just so much easier to play when there's like a spotlight on you. So number 69, that's something that like, it creates sort of like a spotlight on you because regardless of the atmosphere, you're still going to get eyes on you. So for me, that just helps me play better at the end of the day.
That's so funny that it just like circumstantially happened, because that definitely seems like your vibe that you would pick it. You'd be like, no, I want number 69.
Yeah,
you know,
it's so my vibe, but like
yeah,
it was so lucky, but also like
it was meant to be.
It was meant to be, but also I had a choice of a different number, but like the simp in me said, no, I gotta do this number.
If you wore that in the NHL, you would be a legend.
That's my goal.
I mean, you're already a legend. Let's be real. You've already won
Yeah,
over Twitter.
You're
So
the 69 average to play in the NHL.
Was there ever a 69? I really don't know. Like
I don't think so.
There's been one for a couple weeks, but it was nothing prominent. Like we're still waiting for our first big 69.
Yeah.
We're waiting for apparently, yeah, Andrew Desjardins.
He played it for like a little bit, but
Oh,
You could
he is
definitely-
notable for being one of only 2 players in NHL history to have worn the number 69, with the other being Mel Angelstad.
yeah,
Interesting.
not really big games.
Yeah.
he didn't have the Angels.
Igor, talking about, you're saying you love to play under that magnifying glass, being challenged, being good. Your coach at Kunlun is no stranger to having that spotlight. What's it like having someone who also has thrived under that spotlight in Alexei Kovalev to, kind of guide your next chapter as far as hockey goes?
Honestly, he was one of the best like one-on-one coaches I've ever had, in terms of just like after practice, helping you with like stick handling, giving you some like some pointers on one-timers, like stuff like that was like incredible. Like he was literally able to just take a group of guys and just improve their like slap shot like that, just by giving a couple of tips. Like his skill level is insane, and he knows how to like teach these individual skills. Like honestly, I think I've never worked with any coach that I've had in a team that's able to like take you after practice and actually develop you with those skills. With that being said though, as like a coach on a bench, I mean, it was obviously really tough for him because this year for our team, we had a lot of North Americans and none of them were able to bring over their families. You can't bring over your girlfriend. You can't, bring over your wives, your children, none of that because of the COVID restrictions. And the team wasn't really, helping us with that. Nobody really tried to, get them over. also a lot of the salaries were cut in half because of COVID, and just the style of life and everything was really difficult for these guys, and they didn't really make it easier on them. Like we had 3 coaches, they all played in North America, and instead of trying to do things sort of like the North American way, they try to do it the Russian way, which, you know, works great with Russian guys, but when you have a team full of North Americans, it's not really going to work. So it was tough for guys because everyone missed their family, everyone wanted to sort of go home because you weren't getting paid as much as, you know, your contract said, but also you haven't seen your kids, your wives, your girlfriends in you know, in so long. So it becomes really lonely at a certain point, especially being in a foreign country. So I think something like that, you know, which, you know, obviously it's a difficult, you know, topic, but like just, you know, some conversation in terms of mental health, some like team bonding experiences, just like little stuff like that could have gone a long way. And I think that, you know, a coach that is truly exceptional is able to do, you know, game plan, run a practice, but also be sort of like a psychologist for the team and sort of like bring everyone together and be able to read the room. Like if this guy deserves tough love, give him tough love. If this guy needs like a hug or an arm around his shoulder. And that's what I think is truly, you know, a great coach. But I think Covey's young. He's only just started working, and, you know, in time, I'm sure he will develop those skills because, you know, you look at Scotty Bowman, he was so successful over such a long time. And as first, I'm sure when he first started, he wasn't as good as he was when he finished because they get better over time. So if he's already able to, you know, help out so much with just like skills and individual work, then I'm sure everything else is coming too, because he's a smart guy. He learns a lot. He likes to read a lot about these different things. So, you know, I'm sure you'll have a really successful career going forward.
Any other questions, Matt or Connie?
Well, I was gonna say there are a couple more on Twitter.
Let's get through it.
Okay. So somebody wants to know, what would you do at a skills competition? Like, what kind of skills would you do, and what do you think fun skills they should add to the lineup, like speed, sticks taping, artistic stick taping, etc.? That was asked by @Gravy's_Bun.
So first, what I would do in a skills contest.
Yeah, what would you be good at?
I would probably be good at like the stick handling portion, or like the saucer pass where you have to hit the little nets. I'd be good at those. And maybe just the shootout, like the creative shootout, what they used to do. Like I could probably come up with something funny or something entertaining. But what they should do, what they should add, that's tough, because I feel like hockey is actually one thing that they could add, which is kind of stupid, which it's not
I'm
really,
all for it already.
It's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life. I'm not gonna lie. They do it in the Russian skills competition where you line up on the boards and you take a slap shot and you try to rim it around and see how far the shot goes. And they call it the furthest shot, which like it's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life. But like if it gets another 15 minutes of television, like just shooting a puck in a circle, and like if people like it, you know, why not? Like I'm sure that could be fun.
I don't remember.
I have a great one.
Okay.
A celebrity game.
Yeah. Snoop Dogg being at the All-Star game was the best thing they've ever done.
For real. Like literally have a celebrity game, get Biebs out there, like all these interesting, cool people. Like the NBA has a celebrity game, which is not one of my all-time dreams to participate in, but like just doing a celebrity game for hockey that could literally grow the sport so much. Like imagine Justin Bieber skating out there, Hailey Bieber in the first row, her friends like Kylie, Kendall sitting next to them. Just the buzz of that alone, just the people who stand, like the Kardashians, stand the Biebers, would all watch that for those reasons alone. Like it's not that hard, you know, to market something or to get other, you know, people interested. But I guess, you know.
I agree. That's a good point. I don't remember which All-Star game this was, but somebody like literally performed a song, one of the players. Does anybody remember this?
I was in the KHL. Yeah,
that was the KHL. Okay, I thought it was either the KHL or the AHL All-Star game, but yeah, that was so good and that was so cool. I think they should. I feel like they won't ever do that at like an NHL All-Star game because, like, you know, toxic masculinity. But you know, it was fun.
Imagine a singing competition during the All-Star game at intermission, having guys.
It would be so bad.
It'd be so funny.
That would rule.
Hardest skater, best singer, fastest.
And then fans could vote, and whoever wins, they get a goal added on or something. Like
Here's actually an interesting question. Who do you think would win best singer out of the teammates you've played with?
Out of the teammates I've played with, honestly, my teammates aren't really the best singers. Usually when it comes to singing, I'm the one who gets on stage. But honestly, no one really.
You can say yourself. Don't
Okay,
be shy.
who's the worst then? Yeah, who's the worst?
It's a tie for all of them. The problem is they're not even like bad singers. I mean, they're pretty bad singers, but the level, they are so tone deaf. It is incredible. Like if the song's melody is going this way, they're singing this way, you know, it's like, it's totally off. And when they do it, it's brutal. Like I always pretend like we have these like things, like obviously the rookie singing thing, or like in Russia, like a new player has to sing in front of the team. And I'll always like, you know, pretend that I know how to sing, then I'll start singing, and they're like, oh, like they're impressed, because like obviously I had some practice growing up with my sisters, doing all of that. So I have some like, experience in that. But it's just funny when these other guys go out, they're all just like, they're not singing, they're just screaming, but they're screaming a totally different song. Like if you didn't know what song they were singing, you would have no idea, because the melody is so off, they're so tone deaf. It's brutal, honestly. I don't want to be mean to these guys, but like we got to be more artistic, boys. Come on.
Okay, and then so at H Burrito 92 said, what spurred you? I guess we kind of went over this about what spurred you to be so vocal in your beliefs, but have you faced any kind of blowback from like hockey men from speaking out?
Actually, one time I had I don't know if you guys saw on my Twitter, when I was playing in the OHL, I scored a goal and did a curling celebration.
Oh, that's cool.
This is vaguely familiar, yeah.
I tossed my glove on the ice, and my teammate like sort of like was sweeping. It was during the Winter Olympics in 2018, so it was like perfectly done, because it was obviously current event, whatnot. And after that, it was the first shift of the game. I scored in the first shift. I was like first line center at the time, and my coach starts screaming at me, benches me for the rest of the period. We get into the locker room. He starts screaming, "You're a disgrace to the game. You can't do that. You're an embarrassment, blah, blah, blah. You're not seeing the ice again this game."
Jeez.
So then we get down, I think 3-1. And, he starts getting worried about like losing the game. So he starts putting me back on. I get 2 more assists. We end up, I think, winning the game in overtime. I get first star. After the game, it's viral. It's on ESPN, SportsCenter, TSN, literally every major, sports networking, not even in like America or Canada, and like Europe too. It's literally everywhere. It has millions and millions of views. And the next day we have a sold out crowd. They told me after the game, tomorrow we're having a meeting, you, the owners, the GM, blah, blah, blah. I come in and we get told it's a sold out crowd, no meeting. Nobody ever talks to me about it ever again. It's brutal. Like, it's just it's so stupid. I'm like, they're like, "Where'd you even think of this?" I'm like, "I saw an NFL team do it." I'm like, "We're not the NFL." And I was like, "Yeah, I know."
Well, maybe we should be.
Yeah, we make a lot less money and we're a lot less interesting than the NFL. So like,
yeah.
It's like, so we probably should at least try to imitate these guys.
Exactly. Like if they make money, if they have a better business model, why not copy them? Why not,
exactly.
I don't know. It was just so stupid. Like it hurt literally nobody, and it made the team money. Like, come on, like, chillax, bro.
Yeah. Honestly, the idea of the movie, it was wonderful, honestly. And it's something that I feel like hockey really needs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
some personalities
it's kind of going that way? Do you feel like people are becoming more expressive, or are they still kind of curmudgeon-y, old Don Cherry? You can't do that.
Thank you, Connie.
Don Cherry, I think he's a hypocrite, because he says you have to be a perfect like Canadian boy. You have to like dress a certain way. You have to do all these things by the book. Dude, you're literally wearing like I don't even know how to explain it. Like
he's literally wearing Lady Gaga suits.
Yeah, like a Lady Gaga suit, or like if you look at like I don't even know what it's called, like wallpaper from like a weird ass restaurant. Like that's what he has on. Like those are his suits. Like, bro, you're saying all these things, but then you get pissed off when a guy dresses like differently. Like, come on, man, you're like, that's so hypocritical. And all you do is use your like your voice and your strangeness, uniqueness to make a name for yourself. But when a player tries to do that, that's wrong. But in terms of like athletes or hockey players trying to, sort of branch out, I think there's some guys that are doing it. A lot of guys still are afraid of it, but the most important thing that I think you have to do when you do these things is be inclusive to everyone. So like when these guys are doing it, it honestly seems like they're doing it just because they want to attract, an Instagram model or something. Like you see these guys on Toronto, like they want to get their count up a little bit. That's why they're, dressing up that way. But in terms of like, you can do it in a way where you can involve your fans, you can involve the people, you can like, for example, say, I'll have a caption contest, who writes the best caption, I'll let you choose my next outfit for my next game. And you can just involve so many people, make so many people feel special that way.
That's such a fun idea.
Yeah, I think it's just so easy and so fun. Like, obviously, I appreciate these guys trying to like, dress up, but like, I just question their intentions at times.
And it seems like a lot of times when it's like players of color, they get a little bit more scrutinized than if it was, like a white player doing it. So
it's the amount of hate these guys get. Like, I remember last year when the Maple Leafs for the bubble, they were dressing up and their fans were like commenting and saying like, focus on the game, don't focus on like what you're wearing. It's like, come on, man. Like, if I show up to the arena thinking like I look my best, feeling confident, I'm probably going to play better. Like, it's basic like human behavior where if you think and you feel good, you are going to play better. Like, that's as simple as it gets. Like,
yeah, like a bunch of team polos aren't going to fix the Leafs.
Put them all in a matching suit, they're not going to play any better. Like, maybe if they actually feel good, feel sexy, feel confident, maybe they will play better.
So what you're saying is you don't like Leafs fans either. No, I'm joking. You don't.
I mean, I didn't like them when they were saying that. No, I really didn't like that. I even had a tweet. Someone was saying like they're all wearing skinny jeans and they look like girls and blah blah blah. I'm like, do you guys realize how big our legs are? I can the jeans and they will still be skinny jeans. Like we hockey players, we can't help it. We have giant thighs. Like
NHL GMs are going out to buy all the bootcut jeans at their local Zellers.
Zellers.
It's like these guys are trying their best, and like, yeah, jeans are gonna fit kind of tight, and like obviously a skinny jean looks better on a skinny leg than it does on like a giant leg. But like, what can they do? You literally you play hockey and you work out for a living. Your legs are gonna be giant. Like,
yeah,
it's just how it is.
It reminds me that you say that because who was it? Was it Dylan Larkin that did that commercial being like, I have a big hockey butt, and it blew up on Twitter, like 80,000 retweets or something. So it's like, hockey players got to do that more often. Just embrace your big thighs and big asses, and then you'll get more people watching your games.
For sure. Like, it's so simple. Like, just something fun like that, it just brings in so many more people. Like
the Hurricanes. Look how much their viewership has grown because of all the fun stuff they do.
Yeah, they're a bunch of jerks, though. They're a bunch of jerks. But when Don
exactly
the piano talking, like, he's not a jerk. Like, I don't know. It's kind of messed up, but hopefully it starts changing in the right direction.
Rams, do you have any more Twitter questions?
No, a lot of them are kind of the same thing. So no, we don't. The only thing I would say is, Nathan, did you have another question?
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you can just say subscribe to Scorchstack. That's all I ask.
Of course. You want me to say it right now, or like tweet it, or how do you want me to do it?
Oh my God. I thought you would just say it, but if you tweeted it, that would be incredible to the brand. That's like, we have a joke where anytime we get a tweet that has like 4 likes, we'll be like, damn, this is blowing up. Subscribe to Scorchstack. It's like a whole thing now. So now we just get anybody who just says subscribe to Scorchstack if they can.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could definitely tweet it. Like,
oh, that's awesome.
Thank you.
You're the best player to ever play the game.
And Igor, just before we wrap up, I love asking this in an interview. Is there anything that we didn't ask you that you really want to talk about and just get a chance to say anything that's on your mind?
It's actually a good question because during last year's quarantine or whatever, first lockdown, I was doing an Instagram live thing where I was interviewing my friends, and I'd always ask that same question at the end.
Oh wow.
And literally, I think 8 out of 10 people were like, "Oh, pucks in deep." Not really. We pretty much covered everything. But like for me, no, man. Like literally, if you guys have like time or whatever, you can literally ask me anything. Like I'm down to talk about absolutely anything you want. Like I'm totally cool with any subject, any topic. Like I'm down for anything. So
I mean, we
you haven't asked, like I'll pretty much answer anything.
we did get another question, but I don't know. It's like kind of weird to answer this,
Oh,
so I'll ask it.
Go
So
ahead.
somebody said, ask him how he can be incredibly handsome and be a seemingly very good person. I was told you're only allowed to have one thing going for you. I'll find mine eventually. This was at Webster Van City.
Okay, so the thing about handsomeness or attractiveness, it's all objective. There's no such thing as being handsome or being attractive. You're attractive.
I say that all the time. It's like beauty
almost
is subjective. That's why I really like that fish from Finding Nemo.
Exactly.
You get it.
I mean, that's a type of question that makes me kind of sad, because if someone is saying that, that means they were being told in their life that they're not attractive, which I don't think is true. I feel like everyone is attractive in a certain way, and everyone has their own. They will always find someone that views them as someone attractive, as the most beautiful person they've ever seen. Like something that I always thought was I have a type. I will never go out of that type, and then I met someone, and it's like that type just flew out the window, because traditionally I would never find something that attractive. But like it's all about like when you find some person or whatever, they will think you're the most attractive person to ever live. So that, to answer that question, is you are as attractive and as good of a person and as funny as anyone else on the world in the world. So don't ever doubt yourself, because there will always be someone that you will meet, or someone that you will find that will look at you and feel all of those things towards you. So about me, like I'm just a regular dude who just has dyed hair and like a nose. So
dyed hair and a nose. Perfect way to describe yourself.
That's great.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't think I have any more questions, but I mean, if you wanted to talk, like, we're so open. Like I told you, like, we started this because we're so sick of the regular hockey blogs that just like, oh, post-game recap. Oh, who are the best, blah, blah, blah. Like, we like to talk about fun things. We swear in our blogs. We don't care about all that.
A single game. Like we've had,
because it's boring. Who cares about that? Like, I guess everybody's doing that.
I guess the only thing I wanted to ask is more because of a personal question, because I'm obviously really interested. But like, what was your favorite what was your favorite team to play against when you were in the KHL? Just mainly, and like, where did you like playing in the most out of in Russia?
I liked games in Moscow and St. Petersburg, the two biggest cities. They had the biggest crowds, the biggest cities, the coolest arenas. They were on national TV. Like, to me, that was just the most fun. And in Moscow, when I played my first game against Spartak, I flew in 3 days later. I'm in the lineup. I fly in and I walk into the coach's room, and they're like, we don't have a lot of guys. Everyone's got COVID right now. So you're getting in the next game. You have 2 days to practice, and then you're playing. So that game, I think I had maybe like 25 or 30, family members or like close friends there. So just playing in front of people like that is something that's really, really fun. But also when you play in such a big stadium with so many like loud fans, and it's such a like in the moment feeling, that's something that I really, really love. And that's why whenever people ask me like which team would you want to play for in the NHL, I always say my dream would be to play for the Rangers. Like a team like that in a city like that. I mean, someone I look up to is Sean Avery, for the way he the way he lived, the way he played. And like I think he's the first athlete to ever publicly support legalizing gay marriage. Like something like that people don't even realize about him is like,
no
was
wonder.
so big at the time. And besides that, he went and did an internship at Vogue, like stuff like that, which is, if you do that as a hockey player, I guarantee the next day you come in the locker room, the amount of shit people will say to you is horrible. Yeah. Like this summer when my season ended, I came to Los Angeles. I had a modeling agency reach out to me. They're like, would you like to, work with us, get some jobs? And I was thinking about it for a while. And then I was like, I literally got scared because if I start modeling and I start doing all these pics and whatever, and like runways, or if I come into a locker room, I'll be absolutely ripped for that. Like, that's why like something like that, I was like, maybe that's not a good idea at this point in my career, even though fashion is something I'm really passionate about. That's something I'd really like to do at a certain point in my life. But when I thought about that, I was like, I walk into a locker room and these guys are going to look at me and, say all these, things about it. And like, I don't want to deal with that. Like, so a guy like Sean Avery is someone I look up to because he was able to do that. And he didn't care what people thought. He was like, I'm interested in fashion. I want to build my brand. I want to meet these interesting people in this different industry. And he went and did it. And honestly, I think he had a great career. And in his book, he talks about playing in New York. And when I read that, a couple chapters about him playing in New York, his adventures, his just the lifestyle of being an athlete in New York City, that just, it like a switch went off in my head. And I'm like, this is, what I'm meant to do. And, that's a huge, huge dream and goal of mine.
I'm assuming you also don't want to play for a guy like Torts after reading Avery's book.
Yeah, that is true. But the thing about Torts is any Russian coach will make him seem really soft. So yeah. Any
Don't worry,
Russian...
if you ever do this modeling thing, you'll have all of Twitter behind you supporting you. So you're good.
Hopefully, because I literally was supposed to meet with like she was the executive vice president of a big agency in Los Angeles. She's the guy who dyed my hair, he works at the salon, and she saw me on his Instagram and she was like, I want to meet this kid, blah blah blah. We were supposed to have a meeting and like everything got like canceled because of like honestly just my fears of how it would look in the dressing room, because I feel like you have to sort of like at least establish yourself a bit first before you start doing those things. Like if I had like an NHL contract right now and I had like sort of established myself, I would do that. But as someone who's going in for like an opportunity, not like a for sure spot, I need to earn that spot first, and then maybe next summer or the summer after that really get into that, because then I'd have a sense of security, whereas I've already proven myself and these guys know what I can do, and me being weird in their eyes because I enjoy fashion, I enjoy other things, won't really skew their opinion on me.
Well, we're really looking forward.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Connie.
I'd love to wear Igor Larionov sweatshirts, and
he has merch, Connie.
Yeah, I do have merch.
Ooh.
Yeah, you know what? Let's plug your merch.
Let's plug it.
Scorchstack. How can we best plug your merch?
So I don't know the link to my merch because it's very confusing. It's a very long link. I could try to read it out.
It's linked on that Scorchstack piece I did, Nathan. It's linked there. I did link it there.
Okay.
So we'll tweet out, go buy merch, and then you tweet out, subscribe to Scorchstack.
Sounds like a deal to me.
You got it. Awesome.
It's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. It's got like a 69 on it, so like it's it passes the vibe check.
I'm 100% ordering it.
Thank you. Yeah, it means a lot.
Igor, one thing I want to touch on, just bringing up here, like talk about Sean Avery and the fans and this and that. Like Sean Avery back in whatever year it was, got in that thing where he was like yelling at a fan because he was heckling all game. Like there are obviously like those trademark like shitty fan things, like yelling shoot on the power play or banging the glass. Like, but what is something that you as a player, when the fans do it, you're like, hell yeah, let's go. Like, what is it something that like, a hockey fan can do if they're like, I want the players to like get a good vibe off this? Like, what's something a fan can do when they're in the audience?
So I guess for everyone, it's a bit different. Like, for me, I love if they would boo me, if they would yell at me, if they would throw stuff at me, just like hate me. And then if my home fans,
perfect for playing for the Rangers against the Flyers then.
Yeah. Yeah. But for like home fans, honestly, it's pretty much anything. Like they could cheer, they could clap, just any type of emotion, any type of like noise is just enough to get you going. It's so weird. It's like in those games you have so much more energy when there's a big crowd, and it doesn't matter if it's home or if it's away. Like you can feed off of both types of energy. But for just any advice to a hockey fan, it would just be loud and have fun. Like that's the number one thing you can do to help players: clap, yell, sing. Like in Europe, a lot of teams, they like have like anthems for their songs, and there's guys playing the drums and people are like singing the entire game, like chant.
That sounds way cooler.
It's super cool. They have drums and they chant. It's like it's like in European soccer when they
Yeah.
all sing and they have like anthems. Like if you could add something like that to a hockey arena, that would be absolutely insane. I feel like the guys would love that.
When I was in China with the Inferno, they had these like a intermission performance, and this girl was literally on the ice like with the microphone singing and like jumping, and everybody in the crowd was so hyped, and there was like light shows. I'm like, this is the coolest thing. Why don't we do this in North America?
I mean, that's probably better than most KHL games.
Yeah, she was like jumping on the ice, and I was mainly concerned she was gonna fall, but she was fine.
You can stick the landing, that's all that matters.
Well,
I think that might be it.
I think so too. Did you want to say anything else?
No, I mean, if you guys have anything else, I'm down to talk. If not, I'm down to not talk.
Just stay here in silence for the next hour. All right.
Igor, let us say thank you so much for hopping on with us. It's this is our first official Scorchstack player interview. Couldn't imagine it going better.
This is the top. We're never gonna get better than this.
We peaked. We peaked early. But it's just really refreshing to speak with someone with your candor and your vulnerability and just your passion for not only the game, but just growing the game and just making sure that all parts of it are given equal opportunities. So thank you so much on behalf of the Scorchstack.
Of course, yeah.
Sorry. Okay. All right. We'll tweet out your merch.
Oh yeah, I'll tweet out your. It's just at Scorchstack, yeah.
Yeah, at the Scorch. I'll send it to you. I'll
Yeah,
just send you our at, and then you'll know. And then just subscribe to the Scorchstack.
Got it.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much. You are, I think, the nicest hockey player in the world. So, and the best. So
we'll be looking for your PTO next season.
Yeah, don't worry. No. We're not going to be
We'll
looking for it. Yeah, we're the ones who are going to make it happen.
Yeah, we'll be looking for it because we're going to organize it.
The Igor Larionov 69 jersey, it's an immediate cop.
Yeah.
It'll make any team so much money.
Exactly.
Easily.
All right. Well, thanks again. This was super fun.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
All right.
Take it easy, Igor.
Bye, guys.